We are taking this 2018 Polaris Sportsman 450 HO and converting it into the Ford Raptor Mini Mega Truck. What's up, you Rapaholics? I know it has been a while, but we have the Raptor, Claptor, the old Chevrolet. It's in pieces. Been slowly working at it. I do apologize, I haven't posted in a while. I took a small break from YouTube because we're in a different location. I moved. Most of the projects are going to be in this garage, and so the project is finally to get this finished. I currently have a new fuel cell being fabricated because this one was temporary and I really screwed it up, and it would have worked probably if I didn't cut a giant hole in it, but lesson learned. So I'm having one custom made, and it's going to fit right up in the dash of this body right here. So it's going to be pretty much in the same spot. It's going to sit right in here, but it's going to be custom made. It's going to fit good, and I think we can get more capacity out of the custom made one. Since I finally got the body that I want, we're going to fabricate an actual nice subframe, and so we're going to create some bracings to go through here to hold the plastic up and support the plastics, and then we're actually going to come down here and fill this area in with some subframe and some sheet metal. So there it is. I finally got it. So we got enough tubing and we got some sheet metal in this box right here, and it's time to start putting this all together. I'm using square tubing because Polaris uses square tubing, so I just wanted to keep the frame kind of the same look. We're gonna go through, clean up some of my welds and redo some stuff. I'm not gonna do it now. The steering is pretty temporary. Eventually I'm gonna put some power steering on this thing. Half of the left side just kind of tacked, but essentially it's going to look like that. It's not pretty. Once I get everything all situated, we're going to come through in multiple areas to get this really strong. Alright, it is day 2. I just got back from work, so we're going to try to hammer out and get as much done as we can tonight. Basically, I'm just going to replicate this side on the other side, and then we'll start adding more supports on it and get the body on it and see how she looks. So this is kind of the general look. I lowered it about 2 inches than it previously was. I think it looks better this way. Everything's more just snug. Now I am trying to figure out how I want this to set, so I'm kind of leveling out the two bodies together. As you can see from previously, probably going to have about 2 inches longer than it was, just the way I have everything set up this time. You OGs probably remember this bad girl. This is kind of what started the channel off. This is a custom snow bike I made for my Suzuki RMZ 250 back in 2019. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I made it work. It does work, other than the fact that I tried jumping it and I just didn't quite make it strong enough because it is made out of this flimsy steel. So we're going to revive this eventually, but this whole frame is junk. So I'm going to repurpose this steel for the Raptor, and we're going to use it to make some brackets. And then if there's enough square tubing left, I'll probably use that for this. But I don't know if I'm going to have enough. But we'll, this will probably end up on a quad eventually. Just the way I have it set up, just wasn't quite good enough for the dirt bike. At this point, I have nothing to put it on because I sold pretty much all my stuff. to try to afford this house. We're gonna start chopping off some pieces off this thing and get back to it. All right, so the next step on this thing is I'm going to be fabricating some more framing to go on the bottom part of the plastic here to help hold that from being all flimsy, and to protect your feet and stuff, because your feet actually sit right in this area. But in order to do that, I want to make it removable, because if I ever need to work on the clutch or take the engine out or whatever is going to be here needs to be out of the way, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut some of these pieces up here, and then we're going to make tabs, and we're just going to bolt it to the frame of the quad and then the frame of the subframe here. So the top part of the frame is completely welded to the body of the original frame. That should be fine. I don't think I need to ever take that off for any reason. As of right now, the body is just kind of flimsy on here, but this is essentially how it's going to look. Now, I eventually want to put different shocks in this thing. The stock shocks on the Sportsman are just, for what I want to do, I just want them to be better. And since I moved the rear shocks farther back, the leverage actually puts more pressure on the rear shocks. And when I really give it the beans, it likes to lean back a lot, and it's a good ride. It's actually a pretty soft ride. But I want it to be stiffer. I could put a little bit of a lift bracket to make the back lift up a little bit more, but I really can't go up a whole lot. Maybe an inch more. Maybe that's all I need. So we might fumble with that eventually, but I want to put new shocks on this that are more adjustable. I believe the front shocks are not adjustable on these. I don't know why they didn't make adjustable front struts, but that's the way it is. And then the rear shocks are as stiff as they go at this point. But that's kind of the game plan. And then eventually, once I get the subframe all installed, then we can screw the frame. We can screw the body to the frame and go from there. Alright, so I'm in a little bit of a predicament. So the original plan was to fill in this space with some steel framing going down to the bottom frame here, and then I have some sheet metal I was gonna put right there to help just tie the body in with this and just kind of help hide some of this. But with these big tires on this thing, which they're 29.5, so really honestly they're too much for this thing. I'm eventually gonna I have some 24 trail tires over there, which I run when I trail ride it, but the small tires just look weird. I want to get a little bit bigger trail tires for this. I'm thinking maybe 28s or something, which is still a lot for this, but that's not the point. This thing's ridiculous. But when it comes to turning and stuff, all the stuff I want to put here will be in the way. And I can make it work. It's just going to take a lot of finagling. So I'm undecisive if do I really want to cover this up yet or not. I got this frame in right there, as you can see, which that was easy enough. It's just going to bolt up here. So I have to do the same to that side. See, on this side, there's a lot less to worry about. I don't have a CVT in the way. This side would be a little bit easier. But I still have the problem with the tire being in the way. But so I just don't know. I think if I put a chunk here, I think if I put a chunk there in the middle, it's just gonna look too weird. I don't know yet, so I'm trying to figure that out. Maybe I'll just run it the way it is. This thing is just not perfect. It's all right. So I made the decision. For now, I'm just gonna keep the framing similar to this. I'm not gonna go farther down. If I feel like I need to cover this up down the road, I probably will. But for now, I just don't think it's necessary. It's just the nature of the beast. So I'm gonna keep it like this for now. I'm gonna support this bracket a little bit better too. But really, this is really just to help support the frame mainly, and to help support your your legs and stuff. But we'll get this better supported, and then we're gonna do the same to the other side. Just really need to put the gas tank right here, and then she's about done. All right, it is day 3 or 4. I'm not really sure. So I've been working on this just a little bit at a time after I'm done from work during the week. So making small progress here and there. So I just went through and welded up most of the frame together. I'm just waiting on the fuel cell for now. I also went and remounted the exhaust because the way I had it originally, I was using rubber mounts and stuff, and it was twisting. So now it's held down by 2 bolts. And then I actually need to retighten this. I have a bracket down here I gotta redo. I guess while I'm waiting for the fuel cell, I am going to start working on the dash. Now I want to get the dash to be, as realistic as possible. So I'm gonna mount a key switch into the dash. I might make toggle switches for this piece right here. This is the kill switch and the speedometer override, and this also has the headlights on there. So I might put that all on toggle switches eventually. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for lights yet. I do want to try to make like realistic lights. Maybe I'll just throw some LED strips inside the frame and make it, I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I do have LED pods I might mount to the bottom bumper, and then just for looks I'll put probably some just LED strips into here, make it look like it's an actual headlight. Same with the taillights. All right, I don't know if you guys can see that in there, but the fuel cell has been made. There she is. Very custom to fitting into the dash of the body. So it sits right into there pretty nicely. So we might have to do some custom fitting here yet. But essentially, it sits right there. I think we'll have to play with the fitting a little bit, but I think it's pretty much how it's gonna be right there. We'll get it leveled out. I am probably going to so the plan is I'm gonna make some rubber mounting bushing things to go underneath the tank, so it doesn't rub on any of the metal. This is 1/4 inch aluminum, so she's a thick girl, and she's gonna work just good. So this is the old gas tank here. Now this, in one of my old Predator builds, it came with 2 gas tanks. So this is all I had at the time, and I made it work, but I screwed it up too many times. So just to go to Silver Lake and stuff, I temporarily cut a hole in this and attempted to seal it. With plastic though, you can't really repair plastic, especially in a gas tank. So it was constantly leaking. The fuel pump was always bouncing up and down in there, and it just wasn't a good time. And actually I have an aftermarket fuel pump in here. I need to take this out. The OEM fuel pump went bad on me, and that was a lot of it was running like crap for a while. I couldn't figure it out. Well, the OEM pump finally puked out on it. It was testing it to around 30 psi of fuel pressure, and it's supposed to be around a 55 range. So I have an access port here, and then I'm going to put a cover on it. And what we need to do now is, I got some fittings. We're going to drill a hole through it and put some brass pipe fittings in there so we can run our gas lines off of it. Now, if this fuel pump gives me trouble again, I'm probably just going to buy an aftermarket one, an external pump that I can dial the PSI to how I want. You'd run a return line back to the tank. This fuel pump, the return line is built into the pump. I'm going to show you this real quick. It's pretty jank. Alright, so in order to get the hose into the tank, I have this pipe threading
So what I'm gonna do is drill a hole in here, tap some threads into there, and then this is gonna thread in. But as you can see, there's this pipe right there. So I have a die here. So we're gonna clean the threads up on that, and then we will thread this in to the hole that I tapped, and then this will stick through both ends right here. And then I have two female fittings here. One will be on the outside, one will be on the inside, and then that's how I'm gonna get this to go through. And then I'm just gonna assume that this cap is sealed pretty good. So I have this for a breather line on the tank. So we'll have to tap that out as well. So this is your field pump that comes in your 570s or in your 450 HOs. So essentially this part right here on the 570 is part of the tank. It actually comes off the tank. But they built in the return line basically on top of the tank. So whatever fuel regulators in here, it just dumps right back in the tank. So I have to keep this stupid plastic piece in order for this to work. So basically, this is gonna go in the tank like this, perfectly. It's about the right height, even. If I have to, I can cut some of this hose off right here, and then run the electrical up through there. This is the filter, and I'll get this off of here yet. But yeah, so it's basically just gonna sit right in there, and then I'm gonna make a fitting so everything will be sealed nice and tightly. It won't be jank anymore. And then this will be mounted into the tank nice and sturdy, and I won't have to worry about that anymore. Running. We got her going. So that's what your tank looks like on your Sportsman. That's what it's doing right there. So I gotta redo this hose. It has a little tiny leak. As you can see, it's leaking already. Parking brake on. I'm gonna make this shorter. I gotta redo that line right there, but my fittings aren't leaking that I can tell. I don't think they're leaking. The Raptor is alive. So I'm just gonna let this run for a little bit and make sure that my fittings are gonna be fine. All right, so
It's working real good. I just need to I need to adjust the fittings a little bit better, but otherwise it's really not. Otherwise it's working really good. I'm gonna adjust the hose lengths and stuff, and then yeah, it's gonna work out good. Now next step is to we're gonna strap. I think we're gonna strap this gas tank in, just because I think it's just the easiest thing to do. We'll strap it in, and then we'll start making sure, we'll start forming the body around it. I think I got to trim the body a little bit, but I'm thinking the tank is going to sit on an angle like this, because I think it'll allow the body to fit on it better. Alright guys, so a couple days have passed. So I was working on this off camera, and I pretty much gave myself second-degree burns, especially my hand. I didn't realize I had some gas fumes still in this thing, and I was grinding near it, and it actually ignited. A flame ball came out of this porthole, got me in the face, which my face is actually healing up pretty good. Hand's doing alright. It's starting to blister, but yeah, that was fun. So just be careful out there, guys. Dumb mistakes, things happen, but could have been worse. Anyways, let's get back to it. I'm working on putting the cover on for the access port here. Make sure you guys stay tuned, because this bad girl is now on the channel, and got it for a pretty decent price of $725. Yeah, she's grenaded. So make sure you guys subscribe, leave a like, and stay tuned, because we got some awesome content coming. We also have another warrior in the works. We'll do a little update on that situation. Alright, so I got the hood trimmed up. I had to trim up some pieces right there. So I originally thought I was going to maybe put a hose on this and then come out, but I just wasn't imagining it right. This will work okay. It's not going to be ideal, but you can still take the gas cap off and fill it up right there, and you don't have to do anything special to do that. And then I had to trim some space right here for the new fuel line, and so now the kind of next step is, I didn't really think this through too much. Now, I think the key switch will still fit there. I drilled that out a while ago and put the key switch there. The fuel tank's kind of in the way now. I might move it right here instead, kind of where the toy sticker key switch would go. But I might just have a big hole there for some reason. Maybe I can just put a sticker over that. But so I gotta figure that out. Now, I also was originally going to put this like speedometer gauge. You know, this tells your speed, RPMs, your temperature, stuff like that. This was actually going to fit in there pretty good. I would have cleaned this up a little bit, but now that the fuel tank's in the way, or the gas cap, I'm not sure what to do with this yet. Maybe I'll mount this somewhere down here eventually. This doesn't have to be on there to run. It just does tell you how fast you're going and what your speed is. Really not that big a deal. I think the most important thing is really to keep an eye on the temperature on this thing, for me, just because the airflow is somewhat restricted, because there's just really no grill on this thing, but air does come up through here and into the radiator, and it has a fan, and there's a lot of gap right there. So I don't think it's gonna be a big concern for heat, because these Sportsmans don't normally go that fast anyways. A lot of people do a lot of idling on Sportsmans for work. So I believe this is how the body's going to fit on. Now I'm going to tighten everything up, and we're finally going to mount the body to the subframe, and then we'll tie the rest of the subframe in, and we're going to do some test riding on it. And then I'm still trying to figure out if I want to cover up the bottom portion a little bit. We'll maybe do some riding and figure some things out. I don't think, it's just the nature of the beast. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover it very well. Alright, so I just got back from work, stopped at the hardware store, got some butt connectors and I got a 3-way toggle switch for the winch, or rocker switch, whatever you want to call it. And then I got some, whatever these are called, for that. So we'll get the winch working as well. And yeah, I think we're ready, almost ready for a test ride. So let's get this gas tank running again. Alright guys, we're going to take it for a little test run. So far it's been running pretty good. I did like 2 laps, but I'll do a little bit more cruising. I'm like really excited. I'm like shaky. That's how excited I am. It's been so long. I would say that first test run was a pretty good success. It's running pretty good. I need to, I'm gonna order some better, I'm gonna order some gasket for this. I tried gasket maker and I didn't think it was gonna work. It's just eating through it. So we'll get an actual gasket in there and then we'll be good with that. But that worked good. Breather line working good. Everything is pretty good as far as fenders go. I did a little bit of like jumping to really squish down the plastics and stuff, and it didn't hit the fenders or nothing, so that's a good sign. That's why I put the spacers on the tires to widen the body out, because this body was wider than the Chevy body and the tires were rubbing, even with the trail tires, the 24-inch tires. I think there's a bushing, I think this lower bushing's going bad on this thing. Oh well. In the next couple of videos, we'll be hooking up the winch and actually cleaning up some other stuff, and we'll take it down the trails and stuff. I just want to thank you guys so much for tagging along on this journey. It's been a while. It's still coming together. I'm gonna try to upload some more stuff. I got the Predator build coming along right now, and we have another Warrior build, and then an update on the other Warrior that we started earlier this year. It's in limbo at the moment. We're trying to figure out some things on that ownership wise.